Hold on, I'll come to you, Dolores. You don't have to stand up.
I think your coat's in the way.
All right.
Let's get my paper.
All right, she's getting her paper.
She's got a script. How did she know it was getting...
Because I told everybody in the church that we would do this. Dolores Nutter, our longest term charter member. Let's hear what she has to say.
St. John started a mission church with 64 members who worship at the Graham Community Building, the Odd Fellows Lodge, and Harris's Funeral Home, where we held services. Bud Schnackenberg, Harold William, David J. Zeiler, Kenneth Smith, and Harold William were the trustees or directors. We opened in June 1955. The church was dedicated on June 10, 1956, with 64 members, and by 2006 we had 162 members. This is an area with all the instruction businesses out south of town. We get some and we lose some. We get some and we lose some. And that's the way it's been, and that's the way it'll probably continue.
Oh, no. Now you got to tell me funny stories. You just gave us the statistics. Now let's get down and dirty about it and see the funny stories. Go
My
ahead.
son's not here tonight, so I can tell you a story on Tony.
Okay.
Tony, we lived just the bottom. On the backside of this fence over here was our house on 92 Bryan. And on the west side of this church was a tree that so happened that 3 boys went over there and climbed the tree and stripped it, the bark off the tree.
Uh-oh.
Tony wouldn't do that, you know. He wouldn't do that. So Blackie said, I'll give you a quarter of whoever can come up with the name of whoever did that.
Who said that? The pastor?
No, my husband.
Oh, your husband, Blackie.
And so nobody said a word. Nobody said a word. And finally Tony said, Dad, you'll never know unless I don't tell you. But I'm going to tell you, it was me. And Johnny Stanford, and another boy, but I don't remember who it was at this time. So they all had to go and apologize to Pastor Huberts. And then they had to do the church. But Tony, he didn't get a whipping because he was honest about it.
Very good. Anything else?
Another one he did.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, he was really good about this. He's ornery. I'll tell you this one first, so you really know what he's like. He'd come home from school and he'd hide, and I wouldn't know he's in the house. And he'd jump out there and he'd grab my arms and put my hand back. If I ever get loose, I'm going to knock the crap out of you. But when Huberts was over here at the parsonage, he'd take these boys and they hide in the ditch. And he'd send them up to Pastor Huberts because he always gave candy. Well, when they come back to the ditch, Tony would make them give him some kids' candy. He had to share. And then when Tony went, of course, he wouldn't share with his, you know. But I'll tell you what, he's the best boy there is, because I had one boy that has cancer. He's here in town. He's a principal, retired principal. My daughter died of cancer. And then my son, the honored one, lives in Oklahoma City. He comes home and he mows my yard and takes care of everything, you know. And he checks on me 3 times a day. I told her, Mom, did you drink your water today? Did you walk today? And if I say no, he said, you better do it. And I walk around the front room, you know, and kitchen, and the den, around. I can't walk very far because I need a shot in my back, and I'm going to get it before long, I hope. So that's my story.
Yay! Let's have a round of applause for Our Lady. Very good. Who's next, Gary?
Who's next, Gary? Gary's been here long. Alan probably should be.
Oh, Alan. Yeah, let's do Alan. Here we go.
Thanks, Gary.
Thanks a lot, Gary. I'm coming around. Hold on. I do our own choreography here. Gary, he knows where you live.
You don't have to put that on the tape.
Here we go. Go ahead.
Well, Judy and I became members, I think in 1962.
Louder.
We were here 57 years, and then when she passed away, and then I went to Grove, started in Grove. But the only story, we had a pastor come in, the name of Glenn
Budwig.
He was a single man, and WMO decided instead of giving him a housewarming gift, they was going to bring canned goods. So they did. And I was sitting at the house one night, and Alvin Meyer called me, and he said, "Hey, I need some help." I said, "What are we doing?" He said, "I'll come by and get you." So we came up there to the church. And all them boxes of food that was sitting there in cans, we tore every label off of them.
Pulled every label off.
He told me one time, he said, "You know, when I go to eat lunch, I just don't like to eat raw pumpkin."
And that was on sale at the Walmart. That's why they got that.
He said, "I never know what I'm going to have for dinner because this is a surprise to me."
Hey, tell us about the building. This building we're sitting in. Your name is on the plaque there.
Well, Alvin and I, and everybody else, Steve Winnikin, I don't know who all back then. I'm old. My memory ain't like it used to be, but that was the original wall right here.
Right here.
Right there. Then we added on this and all the rooms back there. 1987, I think it was.
Yeah, 87, 88.
Sweet. Yes.
Did you have any disagreements, or everything just went perfect?
No, we never had any.
Some of our wives wondered where we were a lot of the time. Spent a lot of evening, almost every evening down here.
One other,
Where my wife was.
yeah, one other story that I just now remembered, seeing Robin sitting there. We had redone the kitchen in there, and they put the formica down. Well, Alvin and Lloyd, her dad, was out there, and I come back out here to see what was doing. This was before I think it was before we built on here.
Yeah.
And I walked in there, and I told him to. I said, "Come on, let's go." Alvin said, "Where we gonna go?" I said, "We're going outside and get you all some air." Oh man, whatever you said was funny to both of them. I mean, it was something. That formica was glue was just about to get them down.
Well, that's the last person who's ever been super happy at our church, right?
Yeah, we had a lot of help. We got all this done. Building permit, the guy that when we got ready to get it inspected for the electrical, he told us that when I went up to see him, he said, "Well, I can't get down there for a couple of days." I said, "Well, I got guys coming tonight for sheetrock," and he said, "Well, I don't know what to tell you." I said, "Well, I'm gonna tell you, we're gonna start sheetrocking. If you don't see it, you better get down here." He said, he said, "Who's the electrical contractor?" And I said, "Leroy Ragsdale." He said, "Yeah, just go ahead and cover it up." That's all right.
Just go and cover it up.
Yeah, go ahead and do it. Cover it up. He'll do it right. Yeah, but and Leroy went in on that. He was just a bunch of us guys doing it. We did.
This is going on the
Well,
playground.
he did. Well, he did. We used his name so we could get the electrical parts and stuff. It's Mid-American Electric Company, and he gave us the permission. Of course, he had to prove everything. So when I called him and told him, he said he would take care of it. So he did.
All right. Well,
We
sweet.
had a problem.
And now we're going to go right over to this Audrey. There you go, Miss
I don't have
Audrey.
any stories.
You don't have any stories?
No.
Come on.
No, I don't. I really don't.
All right, tell me a great time that you had at the church, a memory from our church.
I'm drawing a blank. They're all good. All the memories are good.
There you go. Well, let's go to Pam then, because I saw a picture of her when she was 15 at her confirmation in that 50th anniversary.
It's been my church as long as I can remember. This has been my church and my family as long as I can remember a church.
So what happened during confirmation? Anything we should know about? You guys goofing around at confirmation time?
No, there are only 3 of us.
Oh, you couldn't get away with
We
anything.
didn't get away with anything.
Man,
And
that sounds
then
like William and
our
Willie.
First year we were combined with Aiders Church, so there were a lot of kids. So
I thought my daughters had written notes, or the kids that I used to teach confirmation for, including my daughters, would write notes in their catechism to each other, and it looked like they were actually taking notes, and they were.
I didn't do that. But my daughter we were married here. My daughter was confirmed here, baptized here, married here,
What's your wedding anniversary?
July 13th.
And what's your wedding anniversary?
July
And there's one more wedding anniversary on July 13th.
Emily.
And Emily's July 13th.
And my parents.
Okay, so you guys, there's more days than July 13th in a year. I don't know.
Yes, Pam had to get married on
December 24th.
Thursday night because to stick to the.
Yeah.
I think it's done now. I think we're done.
Okay, there you go. All right, Smiths. Well, I'll get you.
Hi there.
I'll get you in a minute. The Smiths, talk to me.
Yes, hi.
Hi.
I grew up in this church also. Well, from 4th grade is when we transferred down here. And
From where?
From Iowa.
Iowa.
Yes.
Oh man.
Yes. And
You have to watch it in Iowa at night. You know why? Because the corn stalks.
Yes.
Has ears too.
Well, first I was going to talk about going to Sunday school every single week. It was just me and the teacher, Mr. Henry Haas. Every single week. There was never anybody else that was my age to go to Sunday school.
Debbie didn't go?
A few times, yeah, Debbie would come every now and then, but I remember she didn't come, weekly or anything like I did.
Okay.
Then I was going through confirmation. Pastor Hummel would pick me up every Saturday. We would drive to Adair, have confirmation. There was about 3 or 4 kids there, all boys. And then I got confirmed here, and I must have been the only one because I can't remember anybody else. So I was the only one. And I started going with Bobby when I was in the 9th grade, and I
Bobby, high school
I kept
sweetheart.
asking him, come to church. He's like, would you just quit asking me that? I will come sometime when I feel like it. So anyway, then I quit asking him to come to church. He did finally start coming to church. We got married here. Pastor Hummel married us. And then he went to adult confirmation, and he was confirmed on Palm Sunday. Pastor Hummel took the cross off of his neck and put it around Bobby's
how
neck.
cool is
Talk
that?
about tears coming down. I was crying. That was amazing.
And you had to marry him, didn't you?
It was amazing. No, that was after. I think that was after we were married.
Oh, okay.
No, yeah, we were after. He went to confirmation afterwards. But that's a lot of the good stuff. And I heard somebody ask about a softball.
Yes, the
Game
softball.
team.
Tell us about
Oh
that.
man, we won it. Yes, we were very good from members here in the church. Darlene and her husband Jeff, and Gary, and who all else was on the? Huh? Sandy. Ken Spencer, but he didn't come to our church. Yes, Ken Spencer. Yeah. Oh, and one other very big thing for anybody that watches this and sees this, I would love for you to come to church. If you've never been here, look at the altar, the baptismal font,
Yes.
the flower stands, and the pulpit. My daddy made them. They are so very, very beautiful.
Yes, they are.
Yes.
They are. They're good
I
work.
love 'em.
Very good. Very good. All right, over here. Let's see.
Yeah, do you want to tell?
Oh, yeah. Come on, Bobby. Tell us, Bobby.
Don't tell about George Wardy whenever he did the communion.
Yes.
To do the eat, drink, go.
Eat, drink, go. He'd say that to the pastor, wouldn't he?
He would say that.
Yes.
Eat, drink, go.
Eat, drink, go.
Mr. Wordy remembered us in his will and made sure that our church can make sure that children can find out about being professional church workers and do mission work too. So I think that's pretty good. Never got to meet him, but I would love to. I will in heaven.
He was something.
He always,
He was
he always would be traveling overseas and send greetings to a particular church because wherever he went, he always went to church and he'd send greetings from whatever church in France and whatever.
Oh, my.
He'd do that a lot. Yeah.
All right, well, let's go over here to Helen and Ron. There you go. Tell us a story.
Well, I can only remember one thing. When we bought our house here, we were still living in Tulsa, but we came to church here one Sunday. And a few weeks after that, Ted Harrison said, "I never thought you'd come back to this church." And I looked at him, I said, "Why?" And then I realized that I was wearing a suit and shirt and a tie, and she was all dressed up.
Yeah.
And this just was not a dressed up church.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
When we came back, Ted became a good friend. Great guy.
Great guy, great guy. Helen, do you remember any stories about the church? You've been here a long time with all the folks. You want to say something or just say how happy you are?
It's such a wonderful church, and I hope everybody is going to participate in the work around here.
Very good. All right. Well, let's go on then. Jackie, what happened to Jackie? I'll do Herb here. Herb and Lorna here. Tell us some stories here.
Well, back in '88, Pastor Stuckmeyer was here. Yeah, and we went through him. Lorna did adult confirmation, marriage counseling, all in one package. And we were getting down to baptism. And Lorna was like, stopped him and asked him, "Do I got to get baptized again?" And Stuckmeyer looked at her and said, "What do you mean again? There's only one baptism." And she said, "Well, I've been baptized 5 different times.
Well, there you go.
Every time her mother was, get this, her mother was Roman Catholic, which was the Latin stuff, and her father's Southern Baptist, and never the twain met."
I see. Yeah.
But we chose to, shortly there, when we got married, we ended up shortly thereafter coming here, and kids were baptized here and everything.
All right.
So we're, good, help,
Good Lutherans.
Yep.
Okay, Lorna, tell us the truth now.
Well, as he was saying, I was raised Catholic, and whenever I then became Southern Baptist, and then went all through that change, and then when we met, we were like, he asked what kind of church, which church do you want to go to? I said, I don't care. I'd never been to Lutheran. I asked him what he was. He said Lutheran. I said, okay. So we decided to start coming here, and this is the first Lutheran church I ever went to.
All right. I hope we did a good job for you.
I came back.
All right. Gary, you're next, buddy. Let me get you hold. You told me you had some stories of... Yes, you can.
The first Sunday I was here, Sandy and I this was early February, and we were planning on getting married. We'd already set a date in June, or tentatively, the 28th of June. And she knew the Paulsines, who were members here, and Dolores and several others, it turned out. She was not a member here. Neither one of us were. So we came early, and Paulsines took us, and we talked to Pastor Polk, who was the vacancy pastor at that time. And we talked to him, and he said, "Yeah, we'll do that, and we'll want to do premarital counseling. We can do that after church each Sunday, spend a little time with you." And then she went through adult confirmation before we were married, through the week. Well, we talked about June 28th. Well, when he comes in there and at the end of the service, he said, "Oh, and we have a young couple here with us." Yes, I was young at one time. Have a young couple here, and they're going to get married on the 28th of this month. And I go, whoa, 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 slow down. No, that's 28th of June. He goes, oh, okay. He knew better. but that was how I think he was just kind of needling me.
Yeah.
You know, but I had to stop him because he was rushing me up 4 months. A little better.
There you go. Well, good.
And on as far as the building and stuff, we were, I don't know, we probably didn't break ground till March, something like that of that year, and we dedicated it at the end of August.
Wow, fast work.
Which is kind of record time. I mean,
That is.
but we were out here about every evening, or some guys were out here all day long as well. And I remember one night we had the decking on the roof, and we were just trying to get felt on it. And storm was coming, and we had about 6 or 8 guys up there, and hammers were flying. We didn't have a nailer or anything, but we were up there trying to get that felt nailed down to keep it from flying off. And some of the little details that I remember, I sprayed the doors in there. Alvin and Alan, they were doing a little everything everywhere. Bobby made the bulletin boards, with the bulletin board chalkboards that are back there that's got brick on. He made those. Kind of maybe after it was built even, or maybe a later part. Carl Pepper built those bookcases. There was a bookcase in every one of them, not bookcase,
Cadenza.
the cadenza, yeah. Yeah, he had there was one of those for every one of those classrooms. But that was back when the office was still back there.
Yeah, the office.
These 2 offices were more classrooms.
Yeah, and the offices were behind the altar.
Yeah. And but we got it all done and moved in, and I don't remember exactly. We had borrowed money, and we planned to pay it back over like 5 years. And about 2 or maybe 3 years into it, we had it paid off. Everybody was
Fantastic.
Was
Fantastic.
worried about getting it paid off. We got it paid off, and anyway.
Good work.
That's probably some of the best, the closest times for everybody pulling together and doing the best that they could during that time period. And that's also when we won the softball thing.
There you go.
It was a busy summer.
There you go. Okay, I'm going to go do Lemke's, and I'm going to come see Joyce and Jackie and Mary. So Lemke's, there you are. Talk to us.
Isn't it Alan's turn?
Alan already talked.
No, I don't think so.
Yes, he did.
He wouldn't remember it.
Oh, God. Let me see. I remember moving down here when I was 21, sitting in there in my suit and tie like Ron, feeling kind of out of place, but I couldn't go to church without wearing a suit and tie.
That's right.
That's where I was raised. Then I met Darlene, and we got married, and you weren't a member yet. And I remember going to adult confirmation with her, with Pastor Struckmeyer, and our infant son. And you had confirmation a lot easier than I did, I'll tell you that. That's really that, and the softball team, and Darlene being up here helping build this while I was at work all the time. Because she was doing route work and she'd get off earlier, so she'd come up here in the afternoon. You weren't working yet? Okay. No wonder you were up here so much. But yeah, she would come up and help those guys and tell me what was going on. That's what I remember.
What about Darlene? You got a story or not? Nope. All right.
You can talk about this.
You want to say something? Nope. You want to say anything? All right. Joyce. Joyce is our congregation secretary and elected treasurer.
You're in trouble now, Joyce.
Yes. Go ahead.
Well, what am I supposed to say? I've only been a member of the church since
Well, I'll tell you-
2019.
Tell us how you felt when you first came in. Do you feel good, bad, indifferent?
Still here, isn't she?
She's still here, yeah.
They didn't take you off.
I felt very welcome when I came to the church. And
Excuse me, wait. We can't hear very well, that's why I'm asking. Go ahead.
anyway, I felt very welcomed when I first came to church. And we just started coming and coming back and coming back. And started to meet the people, remember their names was the toughest part. And then COVID came along, and then I didn't come to church very much. Watched it on Facebook, but then I decided it's time to go back to church. So been here ever since.
I'm glad you're here. You bet. Winnikins, I'd like for you to share, but you can't because you're on the doodah. Where's Betty? She's next. Betty?
I don't have any pastor.
All right. All right. Jackie.
That real fast.
Now, I'd taken a picture of you for the two of you to prove that to Steve that you were here.
I'm here.
And that's my wife, Mary. All right. Well, now I want to just share a little bit about what's going on with the church. I think they're telling stories over there. Should we videotape them? What they're saying?
You don't want to videotape.
No, you don't want this video.
So, St. John Lutheran Church. I put the script on here. That's what we look like right now. There are people. There are people that are working on the flower beds, and I heard that Joyce has put some flowers in there, so that'll be fun. That's nice, and I don't have my dealing. So the question I have for you is, you dirty rotten thing.
How does this thing work?
I'm sorry.
His question is, how does this thing work?
I can't.
Yes. What's the plan? Okay. So, what's the plan? The plan for the future. What are we doing? I'd like for you to be thinking about this, and you don't have to talk about it, but I'd sure like for you to be thinking about it. What's the plan for the future? What are we going to do? What if we're building a dream that will endure, and we've been talking about building a dream that will endure? What's the dream? People here started this building, built this building before we even were here. They had a dream, they had a vision. They added on to the church, and they had a vision and a dream. It's my job to ask you what the plan is so I can help you make the plan work. Okay? So, what is the plan? First of all, we need to do ministries. What are the ministries that we need to add or to make better in our church? And something I want you to consider is our ministries for children. We don't have ministries for children really right now. We started this camp business. I think that's a great thing. We want to make sure that kids come here. The first thing Jezebel said when she walked in was what? Can I go play? And she's back in the back room playing. So, what can we do for children? What can we do? Just to throw out some comments here first. What can we do for kids?
You mean to attract the kids?
Yeah, when a kid comes to church here, what keeps them coming back? How can we minister to them so they know that
Sunday school.
Sunday school is a good thing? What else?
Have kid bags for church. So
Good. Kid bags for church, you bet.
When they're trying to sit in the pew, they'll have coloring books and like that to help so the parents can pay attention.
Yeah. How do we reach the children of the community? Some people will say when we go to call a pastor, the pastor is going to say how many people are part of this church and how many children. You say, oh, we got about 5 kids that are part of the ministry. No, we should have hundreds of kids that are part of the ministry. There are children that don't have any kind of church home. Jackie's been telling me about that. They don't have any church home. and they need to be ministered to, and they're slipping through our fingers. How are we going to minister to children? It's something for us to think about. Next thing, for families. How do we take care of families? How do we minister to families?
Vacation Bible School.
Vacation Bible School, you bet. Family Vacation Bible School. Maybe some way to that families can all get together. Families got together on this softball team, obviously, and had a great time. So how can we do that to minister to families? Next thing, for older adults. You guys, this place is empty all week long. And if this place is empty all week long, how are we going to use it? We should be using it all the time. It should be in use all the time. Maybe for children. Maybe for adult daycare we talked about. All the different things that we can take care and help.
There's no place, I don't think there's a open older daycare where the older people in the community can just come and sit and have coffee and like that.
Right.
Not in Mays County.
Not in Mays County. Ron's looked.
Yeah. and
How can we
it would
minister?
be a good thing to just open the door and have somebody here to make coffee and like that, and let the community know that the
Yep.
door's open. Get out of your house.
It
That's
gets
right.
a little more complicated though, because you have to worry about insurance
Yes.
Yeah.
and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's
And
doable, isn't it?
It's not impossible. It's just something
It's
that,
doable.
yeah, you have to just look at all the factors.
Good. And for the needy, you don't realize there are people that sleep in the park here. They're in need. They're homeless. They need food. They need ministry. Some of them are good con artists. I understand that. But if they're going to cheat us, they're cheating Jesus. Really, they'll have to answer to that later. But they're
What's the box they put over at the road out there?
The ministry box.
yes, a
Ministry
blessing box. That's
Just
right.
put it, we've got enough carpenters in this room here that it's, a few pieces of plywood, and you load it up with food.
So the community can then drop off canned goods, like
Yeah.
typically non-perishable things that they can eat that they don't have to heat up.
Yes.
Shampoos.
Can
soap.
openers. They need can openers.
Yeah.
Leave the labels on them, please.
Yeah.
Leave the labels on.
Don't let Gary have that.
Surprise at St. John Lutheran.
You can also put female products in there because
Yeah.
a lot of
Yes.
sororities and that kind of stuff.
Yes.
If you want the nitty gritty of what they need,
Yes.
those are the things that they need: toothbrushes, toothpaste, that kind of stuff. And everything in travel size is best for them.
Right? Why can't we do that? What's stopping us from doing that? Ministry to families, ministry to the needy, ministry to the community. What is the whole thing of the community? They don't even know we exist sometimes. And we got a sign out there, we got all these things that they drive by. This is one of the most traveled streets in the whole area. And they need to know that we're here, and more importantly, that we care for them. That's the most important thing. Now we go from that then to staff. We're going to need to add staff. We're going to need to have a full-time pastor. Looking through all of our history, we have always been a church that kind of depends on other churches. When I see that, someone's got to go over and take care of Pryor. I'll go this week, you go next week, kind of stuff. We got all the pastors here that have been here and back and forth. We are a big enough church. I talked to the district president and I said, this church is going to be ready to call a full-time pastor soon. And you know what the district president said to me? Can they really afford that? And we've been working for a whole year to afford that. And by the time we get to the end of 2022, yes, we will be able to afford a full-time pastor and maybe extra staff. This Christmas time, we're having a director of Christian education come to take care of the kids, help the children through Christmas time, and maybe we'll get extra staff that way. We need staff. You see, what happens is the ministries are here. This is a pyramid. The ministries are here, and then staff. The ministries and the staff. Then we go to our property. What's our property about? We have some of the best property in the city of Pryor. If a convenience store could buy this for lots of money and make something there, and I would never like to see that. We have great property. So let's take a look. Outside. How do we look outside? Do we look okay? Do people know us? Do they see the flowers? Are we got drive-up ability? You know, sometimes, for me too now, I'm used to it all. And so I don't see all the things that maybe a visitor would see. How do we look from the outside? How does our sanctuary look? Really take a good hard look at that, because we want to build a dream that will endure, and our sanctuary, I think, is in need of some uplift, and then probably expanding as we get bigger and bigger. Helen, I'm worried about you walking on our carpet because it's all balled up and the glue is coming up. And we talked about maybe fixing that carpet. Take a look at where you're seated. The pews are looking kind of shabby. And talk to Ron about painting the place. That's our worship area. That's our number one place where people would want to be a part of us. And so our sanctuary ought to be just perfect. And I am the one who has sinned the most by putting that TV set in there, because there's wires and things everywhere, and people are tripping all over the place, or I am anyway. And I want to use, where's Robin? I want to use that great pulpit that's there. And so we're already talking to somebody. One of our members is going to pay to make sure that all the things, the wires are away and the TV sets up, so that we can show the videos and the banners and things that we want to do. But that ought to be our best place there, our sanctuary. What about our fellowship hall? This is a pretty good place. I mean, that's the first thing when I walked in, I went, wow, this is a great fellowship hall. Do we need to do anything extra to it? I don't think so, but what could we do to make it even more comfy and that people could come in? We talked about people coming to visit here, so that it is a place where folks feel nice to visit. And then our classrooms. We have 4 classrooms, and if we move the offices 5-6 classrooms that are, and 4 of them are vacant. They're not used. Right now, Jezebel's back there using it, and the kids like to go back there and play. But there's room in those rooms, and I'm thinking that it might be, I don't know if it's a sin, but it's surely a waste of time, or a waste of our facilities. We ought to be thinking about a way to use them. And then the whole property. And that's why Gary and Dean went to do the master plan for our property. What is the master plan? And this is what the dream, building a dream that will endure, will look like. Look, this property looks like this right now. This is what we are. I took this picture, I think, before I started, okay? And then a committee of people for the building committee got together and talked to the architect, and he gave us this idea. And I thought, oh my goodness, that's all. First of all, it doesn't look like our church at all. And I talked to Gary, and that's a facade, basically, right, Gary? In front of the existing buildings, adding a building here a little bit. Tell us.
Well, this is still just an idea that the architect and the drive across the black there is supposed to be a drop-off zone. We planned, that was kind of in the plans. The summer that, see the driveway on the lower left there, and the diagonal stripes, so there's kind of a drop-off zone there to go into the center of the church. We've been using this back, what's really the back door, for all these years.
Yep.
And the front door really doesn't get much traffic at all. But we probably would at least somewhat go back to the center door if we were to add on a sanctuary there. The brick pilasters on the right there, those are just something that kind of visually tie that old part. You can still see the outline there of what we've got now. But those and that covered walkway are a way to come from the parking lot across the front and in the front door. Those people are really tall.
They are tall.
Yeah, that's pretty scary. We're looking for extra tall members from now on.
ETs.
And I'm not sure they can get through that. I'm not sure they can get through that doorway back there.
Maybe not baseball, a basketball team then.
Well, hey, yeah. I think it's cool.
So this is the same building right now, just this facade in front of it.
Yeah, that's just a facade, which doesn't necessarily have to happen. He just threw all these ideas out there.
Well, none of this has to happen, but it gives us an
Well, I mean,
idea,
it
doesn't
doesn't
it?
have to happen that way, even if we do something. And the original sanctuary in there was, from the get-go, was built to expand out into that front yard. And that's why we stopped this one where we did, was because this, he didn't show it extending out, but that part there can, the new part there, can
This part.
extend out a little farther than what this does. This is not quite to the building line. Is that what you remember? We dropped this back a foot or two, so we go all the way to the building line with that part, and it would stand proud of the of this Sunday school part. And the summer that we were doing that building was also the summer they were widening this, the time they were widening this street before. And that's why we got a curb cut down there on the lower left, because they asked us, how many do you want a curb cut? And we said, sure, give us 3. And so we got all 3 of those. The intention way back was to buy this house over here. And
Right here.
It came
Right here.
right there, and it came up for sale and went off the market just that quick. We didn't buy it.
It's available again, I think.
Well, if you wave enough money under the nose, sure. Dean and I are looking at the idea of possibly trading that gray triangle on the upper right, that triangle, which we own, for this triangle in the middle, which would square us up. It's not going to really help their lot much, but we would be more than willing to swap those triangles, which would help us. We'd have a long rectangular parking lot and probably much more parking of it. The architect scaled in those parking places. That's good.
Good.
On the right there, he squared them up even parallel with the street, which wastes space. So that probably wouldn't happen. These are things that I just spotted. Architects have different ideas.
The idea.
Carpenters are very practical architects, and we throw some stuff out.
Well, okay, this is a dream, building a dream that will endure, and that's where this could be a part of it. It started because we were thought about building a bell tower, because we wanted people just to know that we were a church instead of a, I don't know, they don't read our sign and we don't look like a church, I guess. Yeah. So I mentioned to them that instead of building a bell tower, let's get a master plan. So what's the master plan for the property so we can do that? Anyway, those are all things to think about. I think I got this here. There's where we are now. There's where we could be. But the most important thing before we do any of that is the ministries, and then adding the staff. And then when it comes time, we got so much stuff going on, then the foot can't tell the shoe that it can't go any bigger, so the shoe is going to have to grow. Okay? Any other comments? Now, what Dean and Gary are looking for, Herb, what Dean and Gary are looking for are comments for you to make to them. Okay? So if you would write them a note, it's in the bulletin, tell them what you think, give us your ideas. Even if you're not a member of the church, you want to give ideas, just give ideas. We're not asking for money. We're just asking for your opinion about it all. So that we can, at least, because the architect keeps calling, going, well, what's going on? What's going on? And we could tell the architect just to set it aside for a while, or we could work on it.
He wants the rest of the money, though, so he wants to finish it.
He wants the rest of his money, that's right, which we already voted on.
And we're not, there again, all the particulars there, we're not locked in on that. But this is just to give somebody the general idea of
Yeah.
Where we're going to build it doesn't necessarily have to look like that.
Could be purple. Could
No.
be bright purple.
No,
No.
no, that's off the table. Sorry.
Only in Jonathan's mind.
We'll just get you some shaded glasses.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, any other things? That's the dream that will endure. What is going to happen in the future when I'm gone and when you're gone? What are they thinking about? All the stories. Bud Schnackenberg. I didn't know Bud Schnackenberg. I ministered to the Schnackenbergs in Bartlesville. And so, what is the dream? What's going to happen after we leave? What's it going to be? Alan's already got his name on a plaque right over there, so he's okay. But the rest of us, and you too, what can we do about this? I want you to think about that and dream a dream, okay? Let's pray. Father, in the name of Jesus, praise you, thank you for this great 65th anniversary, and help us to build a dream that will endure, and whatever you want us to do, that we will do. Speak to us and tell us how you want it to be done. In Jesus' name. Thank you for the people who built a dream that would endure 65 years ago, and we're still talking about them and joking about them and telling stories about them. May that be for us too, as we pray in your name. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Gary, you want to come up here and answer any questions? You can just push these buttons.